This is the mayor of the airwaves. You and I in a series of getting and staying healthy together. We continue our conversation this morning with Dr. William Frazier, Vero Cosmetic, Surgery and Medispa over on 37th Street. Good morning, Dr. Frazier.
Good morning.
Okay, I want to get back into liposuction, but before we do, we brought up the fact that there's 5 big food companies. And we know about, not triglycerides, what are the fats that they made illegal in New York City?
Trans fats.
Trans fats. And we know that I was watching a TV show, and I looked at the audience back in the 60s and 70s, and there's all these thin people. And then it came back to today's audience. I went, oh, my God, what's going on here? Why is everybody so fat? And you said there's definite we know now it's a fact because if it had been genetic, it would have taken multiple generations. It was too fast, so we know it's environmental that has caused this. And that means we've been being fed a lot of BS.
Well, and the S, I suppose, is the sugar part because Mayor Bloomberg said he wanted to control the size of the sweet drinks, and everybody thought he was interfering where he shouldn't. But his message was right on target.
His message is right, but you don't ask the government to be your babysitter.
Right. And he was also one who pushed the trans fat control or elimination in New York City. So he's got a number of good ideas. He's probably not the right person in the sense of authority.
Yeah. Well, just like you said today, owning something. Yeah. You know, you don't go to a coach and say, look, hey, Coach Lori Long, I'm going to pay you $500 a month. Go exercise for me. I mean, that's the same thing when people say, hey, I'm too lazy, I'm too dull of mind, too weak. Now, sometimes, that being said, there are people that are addicted to food. And, you know, there's always a sort of a, what am I looking for? A funnel that lets the steam out. What am I looking for? A gauge, a safety gauge. So there are people out there. I don't want to put everybody down, but come on, get a trainer, get going, do the right thing, and see how great you'll feel about yourself. Then you can come see a guy like you and get some liposuction, right?
If you need it,
contour.
But what you find is a lot of those people once they get on an appropriate diet, I don't mean diet in the sense of giving up things, but rather changing
lifestyle.
What they eat.
Right.
And their lifestyle changes. Many of those people don't need it.
Well, we're going to put you out of business when it comes to liposuction.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't think so. I wish it would. But as you said today, liposuction is not a diet. It's not a way of dieting. It should be used for body contouring. Now, do the non-invasive lipo systems like cool sculpting, does that work? Does that really work? And explain to the listeners what that is.
Well, there's several
if you would.
Sort of machines on the market that use different types of energy sources. Cool sculpting is one, Zeltiq is one, Zerona is one. And what they're doing is they're using energy sources like ultrasonic, radio frequency.
To break up the fat?
To break up the
fat. Or to freeze the fat. And
freezing the fat,
essentially,
heating the fat.
You urinate it out the next day? Is that
it gets broken down and then ingested by cells called macrophages. They clean up any cellular debris, like if you have an injury. And so gradually that fat is ultimately excreted, yes. There aren't any really large double-blind studies that I'm aware of that look at these. There are a lot of vignettes where people say, I had it done and it worked or it didn't work and so on. But I think that each of these is a way of trying to control a person's shape in a non-invasive manner. Mm-hmm. And again, I think it frequently begs the question of, did they really change their lifestyle first? Yeah. We all like to find the easy way, frankly.
Yeah, and letting someone else own it instead of ourselves.
Yeah. So
there's one thing I've learned from you today. It's that, you put a phrase to it. I understand the concept, but I want to thank you for that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say it's cool sculpting. I think is a good example. There's pretty good research that shows that it works, but is this the best way to deal with this problem? If you have very localized fat, like for example, some people have a little bit of fat right underneath their chin.
Yeah,
works well for that.
Like here,
But-
like I have a little bit. It's what do they call it? It's a chicken neck or something.
Well,
And now that I'm losing weight, at least I can see it more. Can you suck that out?
but there's not very much fat there, and so so this is a matter of figuring out, is this fat or is it just loose skin? But cool sculpting is pretty effective, at least from my reading, in localized areas. But when you start looking at larger areas like the flanks or the sides of thighs and so on, is that going to be the best way to deal with it?
Do you charge
that
consultating,
remains to
or can
see.
my ladies that are listening right now, I'm just picturing ladies, but men too, that are hearing this, can they come in for a consultation? Is there a cost?
Yes, we charge for our time and advice. You know,
Okay.
it's just like seeing an
So
attorney.
there is a fee for consultation.
but it's very modest.
Very modest. Okay. I want to know about it. And the liposuction is also used in facial or breast surgeries.
Yes, for you'll see some people who have, I mentioned, a fat pad underneath their chin.
Yeah.
And the best way to deal with that is to liposuction it,
Yeah.
and then, if necessary, tighten the skin.
Okay.
Occasionally, you need to liposuction the back part of the cheeks right in front of the ears. Yeah. Breast surgery, when we're doing a reduction, virtually all of those people who have large breasts and they need to be smaller because they have back pain and neck pain, they're going to have liposuction as part of that to smooth the sides of the chest and to make sure that the shape is right.
Let me ask you this. And I'm not trying to pick on her. I'm not trying to be a smart aleck here, ladies and gentlemen. But when I see Hillary Clinton, now I met Mrs. Clinton. She was very nice to me. So I'm not trying to do anything here like that. But when I do see her and I see those cheeks, those can't be real cheeks, right? I mean, is she not cognizant? Are people not aware that those things aren't real? I mean, it's kind of like, every time I look at it, it takes me away from what she's saying because I'm looking at those cheeks, right?
I wouldn't want to comment on it because I don't know.
Because there are Democrats out there that might sure get ticked off at me for saying it, right?
I think that people's appearance change. My understanding is that she's had some facial surgery.
Yeah.
And when you do that, especially if there's any weight gain or loss associated with it, it's going to really have a significant
She
change.
is looking better suddenly.
I think that
Do you
she
think
looks
sometimes-
quite good during the
Well,
last few months.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I wonder when she was sick and they said that she banged her head, did she really bang her head or did she really disappear and have some surgery for this run,
Well, it's tough being in the public eye all the time. You have no privacy.
Word. Oh, my word. Talk about being scrutinized,
Yeah.
I mean, some guy just last night at a public event, here, they listen to my show every day. They would say, we're here because we heard about it on your show. Okay, great. He said, you've gained some weight, haven't you, Rhett? And the wife says, no, he's lost weight. Well, she keeps up with what's going down. But from the last time I saw him, she said, well, he hasn't seen me in 12 years, and so I still got a ways to go. But, like when you're in the public eye, people are very curt, It's like, you get out at Publix and you get out of your car. Some lady stops. Wow, you sure have gained a lot of weight. Yeah? Well, you've gained a lot of years, lady. Move on. That's what you feel like saying. I do not say that, but,
No, I think it's important to maintain a filter on what we think and say.
I do. I try to. People can be heartless, though. But I guess Gary Wheeler used to say, well, it either kills you or it makes you stronger, right?
I heard an interesting quote from a person who just passed away. He was a surgeon, and he said every time he would meet somebody, he'd say, "So what have you done for humanity today?" And I thought that was very interesting.
Was that somebody local or no?
No, he's a national figure.
So what have you done for humanity today?
Yeah, he was a key person starting the emergency medical services system nationwide. And his interest was in stimulating people to help others. And that kind of a mindset doesn't allow room to say, gee, you put on a lot of weight or this or that.
No.
Because you want to build people up.
Oprah.
Make them stronger.
I know people look at me weird, but I'm a diehard fan. I mean, I actually, there's very few people that admire but she's definitely one of them, her and Bob Dylan. But she said, I've never given that I haven't gotten more back. And I was recently asked to go to the prison here in town, and I was asked to speak to some prisoners who were actually, they're such good prisoners, they were actually allowed to go into a program where they actually get a graduate, some of them get their high school diplomas, and they have a new lease in life. And I told them that because I said there's a big secret there. If you find a way to give, live to give, it's going to come back So she said, I've never given that I haven't gotten more back. Isn't that a great quote? Mm-hmm. God bless her.
Very true.
Well, listen, God bless you too, Dr. William Frazier. I want to thank you for putting up with me today. We've gotten on course and off course, but plastic and reconstructive surgery, Vero Cosmetic surgery, you're always fun to talk to. We could go on for days, I think. Don't you think so?
I do.
I don't know if you like that idea or not, but okay, so liposuction, you have more questions, set up an appointment to see Dr. William Frazier over on 37th Street, plastic and constructive surgery, Vero Cosmetic surgery, and Medispa on 37th. He's in partnership with Dr. Bailor, who I have met. Really like her, nice lady.
She's very good.
Facial, plastic, and reconstructive surgery. Thanks for coming. By the way, their number is 772-562-2400, 562-2400. You can email them at the office at verocosmetic.com. Their website is www.verocosmetic.com, verocosmetic.com. Thank you, Dr. Frazier.
Pleasure to be here.
You and I in a series of getting and staying healthy together.